family of the eternal rose, family of resurrection. I, Master Germain, greet you through the life stream of your brother the messenger, and as I come to you to offer my flame of eternal freedom, I come this day to each of you and offer my flame of freedom as an enfolding, energetic presence around each of you. When we know that we have a few moments, precious moments, for any of us to share our presence with you, we always consider what we may offer to you that may bring you many blessings into your life. And of course, we seek to offer some sharing of our own lives, if it contributes to your life. As there are today volumes and volumes of teachings, Ascended Master teachings, that have come forth the last century from myself and others of the Ascended Host, many of those teachings regarding the blessings that the Master Jesus offered humankind, for example, such as when he said, Moses brought you the law, and I bring you grace. And I revealed as well that the Master Jesus explained decades ago that this grace that he offered is the sacred fire of God's heart. And I revealed through my own dispensation that it is offered to each of you as God's violet purifying flame, love to life. I come to encourage you to daily enter into God's violet purifying flame. Yet there are other things too that I wish to speak about today. Yet invite each of you equally to go back to those volumes of Ascended Master studies, of knowledge that I and others have offered about God's violet purifying flame love, and continue to study the nature of the sacred fire. I said, and I will say it again, that if you give me 1,000 of your earth days to teach you the blessings of the sacred fire and how you could use it in your life, yet it is not enough time to teach you everything and to make you comprehend the great blessings that God's heart offers each of you, each of us, in the use of the sacred fire. So I encourage you to go back to those studies regarding the sacred fire and read again the wonderful ways that you can turn to your presence and each of us and call forth your violet purifying flame, love to life, that loves to liberate, loves to heal, loves to harmonize, and loves to purify. For it is given freely, and it is the greatest activity of the sacred fire that comes from your beloved I Am God presence, the angels, and the Ascended Masters. As I speak to you, beloved students of light in the Americas and other nations of the world, you are here on earth at this time, in a place, a time of great destiny, now that the seventh golden age has begun. And there are many of life's harmonies and wonderful gifts of nature, of technology that are to come forth now despite all appearances. And I assure you, there are plenty of Archangel Michael's angels, there are plenty of the angels of the elemental kingdoms, and angels of the sacred fire, continuing to come in now in greater numbers to purify the atmosphere where you have created your cities and your homes and your great lands of agriculture, that you may continue to heal, to grow and evolve, and come into the full glorious God beings that is your destiny. I just pray to each of you that you realize that you walk in an atmosphere that although it is cleansed by our angelic beings as much as possible, yet there is that in your atmosphere which is clearly unsafe, unpleasant, and unhealthy. And so I encourage all of you to reach up to your great God presence and embrace its mighty armor of light that it offers you. Call it forth 3 or 4 times a day. Remind yourself that it is your great protection. And if you do not recall it, here it is, your armor of light. My beloved, I am God presence. Enfold me now in your mighty armor of light that makes me invisible and untouched by the discord in the world. A tube of light that makes me so sensitive to your inner promptings each day. I thank you. And also, beloved hearts, to call upon my violet purifying flame love to come into the atmosphere around your bodies, where you are most likely to make contact with others, and unknowingly open yourselves to some kind of discordant kinds of energies. I have seen and I have watched time after time people who suffer, in which unknowingly, unwittingly, they have opened their feeling side of life simply by over-sympathizing with other people's ills and problems, only to find those things then becoming a part of their own feeling life, not realizing it is the feeling body that empowers into manifestation the things that get into our feeling side of life. So I ask you, before I go further, to continue to call the violet purifying flame into yourselves so that you can purify the physical density that may have formed in the structures of your body temples, so that your inner light can grow and expand and expand. Yet also call my violet purifying flame love, ask for the violet purifying flame of your God presence, and even the Elohim sacred fire angels, to blaze the sacred fire into the atmosphere around you, and then, dear hearts, you can walk in safe atmospheres in which you are not breathing in the pollution of technology, the pollution of human beings, selfish thoughts and discordant ways that are yet generated in the world. The sacred fire decrees, the violet purifying flame mantras, over the last century have been given by the thousands. They are there for each of you to find. For those of you who have lost faith in that which is your ability to turn your attention to your presence, and to any of us in the ascended host and the angelic host, and call forth our violet purifying flame love that loves to liberate you and all life. If you feel that you have not seen results, well, there are reasons. And the most important reason is that we cannot begin to cleanse the outer physical self until corrections that must be made inside you begin to take place. And that is all about human behavior. It is all about being free of fear. It is all about being as loving, as positive as you can. And it is only when you realize that when your attention is upon your presence and you are giving voice, you are allowing energy to come through your vocal cords, and you are giving voice to sacred decrees. It is for you to understand that where you turn your attention, there you go. What you give your attention to, that you do through the art of decreeing, this is given you to actualize into your lives the blessings of the violet purifying flame love that loves to set life free. All right then, now, beloved hearts, my sharing, my story. Dear hearts, I wish to have a little conversation, a conversation that contains within it my flame of inspiration, to invite each of you into your own divine creative state of knowingness and living in a much more profound way. The records of my life, the records of the life of Jesus the Christ, and others who have come to prompt humanity back to the light, those records are many. and yet there is a record for each of you to leave in this world. Your lives shall not be my life. Your lives shall not be the life of Jesus the Christ. God has given us great honor and dispensation to come and guide the great mystical rays of the Godhead back to the people of earth, and, as we have in the past, to take on physical forms such as mighty Jesus did, the embodiment of the golden ray. My own life was honored to dispense to the people of earth as the living embodiment of the violet ray that I am. Beloved Mother Akasha comes to you as the embodiment of the universal rose pink ray. My dear friend, my sister in life, the Lady Nada, she is the embodiment of the golden rose pink ray at a planetary level. And we each come to offer our rays of love into your life to assist you. Each of us come and we embody these great rays, and we hope we find an open heart within each of you, because you can use these wonderful blessings in your life. Oftentimes, the blessings that we seek to bring you is to bring about an inner motivation, an inner impulse, an inner divine desire within yourself, to bring forth the best of your being, and to realize, dearest sons and daughters of light, not one soul in this great universe is created without an infinity of creativity, an infinity of passion, and yet there are so many people on your earth, there are so many individuals whose lives are diminished by the seeming plight of humanity and confusion, and those who are lost in a sea of forgetfulness, forgetting their divinity, forgetting or even knowing how to contact the source of their existence. Individuals that move in the world according to the wind and how the wind blows, and the currency of what is considered social movements that seem to direct the course of humanity. Yet, I say, the time, beloved hearts, has come. The awakening of the ages has well begun, and we are all watching. We are watching the path that each of you are living. A long time ago, I had to make the honorable choice to segregate myself from the masses of humanity and begin a path that would lead me to my own sense of sovereignty in God. And it is for this that I desire to increase in you your own sense of sovereignty in God in the most creative and experiential way and journey that is yet ahead of each of you. Beloved hearts, you who belong to this wonderful rose family of resurrection, you've never been asked, and your beloved Mother Akasha loves you so wonderfully, she has refused that her dispensation to be organized as a religion, as in some of the ways that my own work that I brought forth in the 1930s was organized at that time. Akasha has come to me many times and said, Master Germain, I will not ask these blessed students to join anything. I ask them only to unite in their hearts, because each of them must find their own sovereignty in God, because they have signed up for this, and quite often they have signed up for things, and century after century, these blessed students who have found my dispensation, they have too often in previous lifetimes. They have given their life to organizations, to religions, to this, that, and the other thing, only to find they were not the source of spiritual fulfillment they were seeking. And so your beloved Mother Akasha has come to me and said, I will never allow my dispensation of the rose-pink ray to be organized where people have to join things and follow religious traditions and rituals. And I salute Mother Akasha for this. And it is to this that I wish to speak to each of you, to realize that you are so naturally thirsty for a life of sovereignty in your own God beings, in which you are not misled by the laws of man, which often limit and confound the human mind, that you are not misled by having to join organizations that really do not give you that which guides you back to the jewel of life, your own divine self, your own divinity. So as I come today in my sharing, I choose that in my sharing is a gift for each of you to be a benediction, a blessing in your life, to assist each of you to finish the journey of becoming and living your sovereignty in God, that you may unify with the hearts of humanity, not in doctrines, not in religions, but that you may find the true temple and church of life that is found within the sacred altar of your hearts, and allow your own heart flames to radiate love and the healing that the world is craving for at this time. I come in my own sovereignty to invite each of you to become ambassadors of God, Goddess, all that is the source of your existence, the Mother, Father, presence of our universe, where you have found your sovereignty, not enjoying this or joining that, but you found your sovereignty in standing and living out from the center of your God beingness to discover, my dear sons and daughters of light, what is it like to live from the sovereignty of one's own God nature, in which you realize, even as you study the past of saints and ascended beings, this too has been their own divine attainment. Yet, we do not wish you to model your lives and your resurrection and your awakening after ours. We wish only you to know that our ascendancy is proof enough that you have great and wonderful futures of life, light, love, wisdom, and liberty ahead of you. And we desire that you, dear hearts, open and allow the bloom of your heart's fragrance revealed to you of an inner knowingness, of an inner passion that is your reason for being, realizing and perhaps saying to yourself, what is it that I have come to do? I know I am a spiritual being in this physical experience. I understand that we are on a wonderful path that is an upward spiral that will bring each of us into a greater sense of who we are and place us back on that journey in which we can bring our light, our spirit, our consciousness, our passion into physical form and fulfill a divine plan that our own life has for each of us, expressed in the most unique and creative ways. Then, beloveds, you will go forth as great spiritual beings in the great ascended family of life in your solar system. Yet what is important in all of this is the journey. And so often it is the experiential journey in all of this that is missed or not fully lived. We want you, of course, to worship the source of your existence, as the Christ teaches. We desire that you reach up, that you reach within, and through your prayers, meditations, and sacred decrees, call forth all the blessings into your life. Yet do not miss the adventure of this great journey. Therefore, shall I share with you for a few moments my own adventure in the last life that I lived on your earth as the young Will Shakespeare. Oh, my dear hearts, even though at that time I had all the mysteries of life understood in my heart, centuries of embodiments long before my life as Will Shakespeare, was I the embodiment of the Father of Jesus the Christ, known to you as Joseph. And at that time I had the great knowledge. Well, at that time we called it the knowledge of Melchizedek. I also had the keys to the Essene Brotherhood. And at that time, although unrecorded in your New Testament, I was not just a carpenter, yet I was an excellent carpenter. And I was not only a quiet man, as reported to be, and I did not just seemingly disappear, as the New Testament suggests I did. No, my dear hearts, I was already very acquired in the great laws of the universe, the mysteries of the universe itself, the teaching of what is only found in the ancient mystery schools. And it is this means that allowed me to work with the Holy Spirit in that life as Joseph, and to receive the life seed of Jesus, to receive that down my life stream from my presence, and to project that through the all-seeing eye gland of God to our beloved Mary, that Jesus could be born. I did not take her as my wife in the physical way until after Jesus' birth took place. Yet that seed for Jesus' life, that came forth down my life stream and passed into beloved Mary's heart through the mind's eye at the center of my forehead. I could not have done this if I did not have the higher knowledge that the Ascended Masters gave me at that time. My teachers, too, at that time, included the Lord Maitreya, who then took our young son Jesus under his wings and escorted him to Mother Himalaya, where in the great Himalaya Valley, our son Jesus received the great teachings that I had taken into my heart. So you see, that was some 2,000 years ago, that culminated in the ministry of Jesus. And yet years later, I hope you will trust that in my last life on earth, that I lived as the young Will Shakespeare, that I had retained all this wonderful knowledge, the secret knowledge, the tree of life teachings. You know, my dear sons and daughters of life, it is a safe thing to assume that where there seems to be controversy, there is a mystery, there is a secret, there is something that had to be covered over to protect those, especially back at that time that I lived as Will Shakespeare. For back in those days, my dear heart, it is not like your world is now. You do not have what is called the dark beings, the dark magicians anymore. Oh, sure, you have plenty of selfish energy and plenty of sinister energy that is the result of human beings' negativity and thoughts and ways. But now the Dark Lords have all been seized and taken away from your planet. But back in that time, and in my time of William Shakespeare, they were on the earth. And in the time that I lived my life as St. Alban, I was taken by the sinister force. I was seized. I was imprisoned. And finally, in my worship of God, And in my leaving the world, the Catholic Church martyred my life as St. Alban. Yet all that I am saying to you here, dear hearts, is we had much greater pressures back then when the dark beings, the dark lords, were on your planet. The reason there is controversies and mysteries is because we had to protect each other. We had to make sure that we lived lives of such anonymity so that those dark ones, could not find us. And so today there remains many controversies of William Shakespeare. Today there is intrigue in the high courts of Europe and France and England as to my presence. Born indeed I was of beloved mother Queen Elizabeth, known both as in that life as Francis Bacon and William Shakespeare. And yet you have to really search before you find this great truth. And so it was. When I was 9 years old, very little did I have the blessings of my mother, the queen at that time, being raised in secrecy in the palace. It was not until 9 years old that I had some audience with my Blessed Mother. And finally I came to her and said, "My mother, you know I must now take on the name that is my ministry to come." And so she blessed me as Queen Elizabeth when I came of age and knighted me. And she knighted me the will of the I Am to shake a spear at human darkness. Did you hear that? Queen Elizabeth knighted me the will of the I Am to shake a spear at human darkness. And the name that formed from that, William Shakespeare. Now, beloved hearts, you know the motion picture industry today, and I said this years ago, is being prompted by my presence, because I can reach more people through this industry. And today there are wonderful minds in all aspects of life in this industry. And new script writers and new movie producers and directors, and I can touch many of them. I can overlight them. I can speak into their hearts, and I can help them to understand the mysteries that are within the Shakespearean writings. We are just beginning to see new motion pictures in which you will begin to understand the mysteries and the secrets that I placed within my writings, my plays, my sonnets. Yet the only thing I had not accomplished as William Shakespeare was the ascension. Yet except for that, I was an absolute actualized being, quite capable of manipulating life and all its energy to the wonders and benefit of all humankind. And how close to you do not even know this future waits to become yours. So now, saying, take this journey back with me into that life as young Will Shakespeare. Time, life in England, at that time was under great change and transformation. Theater truly was blossoming. We are in a time of great creativity and renaissance. Women at that time were not allowed to be actors, although I did find a way to bring that about eventually. Now new movies are beginning to tell a more real story of my life as young Will Shakespeare. In my writing of these plays, and getting out and acting with my brothers, and bringing forth all those wonderful things as we entertained the people of the day through the plays that I had written. It was a time of great creativity. It was a time of great passion. It was a time of great dance, and yet I had to keep very quiet of my inner knowing, of the secret knowledge that I had. In those days, and of my company of 18 actors who traveled with me, actors in which we brought forth these magnificent plays. We had the audience of many of the royal families of Europe. We traveled with our team and went out and acted these wonderful plays throughout Europe. And yet all of those that surrounded me at that time as a young actor, a young playwright, only 3 individuals knew that I was more than what I had presented myself to be. But that was sufficient. We had to keep quiet. We couldn't tell the others that we were fully realized spiritual beings. We couldn't tell people the truth of who we were. We couldn't speak of the great I am God presence. England already had come under tremendous change, and her own hierarchical growth, and her separation from the universal Catholic Church, and the formation of her own church. There were so many changes in life at that time, yet creativity was flowing in this most wonderful Renaissance period, as I name it. Yet we had to guard ourselves. This was our journey. You don't have to do this the way we did. You have negative energy in your world, and we say there are ways, and we offer you ways that you can now protect yourselves. But you do not have the dark ones with the red blood eyes seeking you out to stop you from your great awakening, as we did. So we had that great concern all the time in our lives back then. We had to hide. We had to live anonymous lives. Today, in your spiritual community, you are the wonderful rose tribe of Mother Akasha, and you have spiritual friends and you can talk with each other. We dared not. We dared not even whisper. When my 3 brothers that knew of the light and knew who I was at that time, and I taught them, whenever we spoke with each other, no matter if we locked ourselves in our chambers, yet we would not speak. We could only write it out. We would have a candle flame that was burning. And when we spoke with each other, the 3 that knew who I was, when we spoke with each other of the mighty I am God presence, of the great rays and flames of God and the ancient sacred knowledge, we wrote these things down in notes, and we passed notes back and forth to each other. And then we immediately burned them in the fire that was burning. We dared not even give spoken word to the great knowledge that we had, for the concern was that the concern at that time was that the dark beasts, the dark ones on the planet at that time, were everywhere looking and watching, waiting for the moment to seize upon us and certain others who had the sacred knowledge. They had a knowingness that there were those of us who had the secret knowledge, and they wanted to stop our ways. They knew we would gain our freedom. So I am saying to you, it was a time of great spirituality. It was a time of great renaissance. It was a time in the 1600s that few of us had the knowledge that each of you are presently studying. But we couldn't share that knowledge, except by writing it down on notes, and then burning those notes quickly. The concern was always that we were being followed by dark magicians that could play their wicked magic on us. And so we had to deal with that in our own lives. Yet I desired to share with each of you. I knew that that was the life that was my resurrection life. As today you have your lives of study and resurrection. And I knew, not until 1683, I did not know, my dear sons and daughters of light, that I would actually gain my freedom in the ascension. I knew that that life, or my next life, would be my last life on earth, and when I completed and was given the knowingness that all the plays that I had brought forth, all the things that were written, were complete, then it was that my son Jesus came to me and said, "Beloved Will, it is time to take your new name on. It is time. Your service to life has been 70,000 years, and life now states that you must take your ascension and prepare the way for the 20th century and a new golden age for humankind to unfold." So you see, beloved hearts, it was in the early 1600s, 1630s and 40s and 50s, as a young playwright, as an actor, I had the secret knowledge, the knowledge that you're studying. And I and the few others that I taught, we had to keep it quiet. And yet our days were filled with creativity. I loved being an actor. I loved giving expression to the great mysteries of life and bringing those mysteries of life into sonnets and plays and bringing it to the stage. This was the last of my passion. A passion that I knew would linger through the histories of humankind, where people would come to love, to study, and embrace the writings that I had left. Some would even come to know that I had written of the rise and fall of humanity and the cause. And many would come to embrace the writings with this greater awareness, knowing that one day my writings would even come forth as living, moving pictures. Yet I say to you, beloved hearts, it was not until June 20th, 1683, that I was told to prepare and to withdraw from the royal court, to withdraw from all my active friends, and to go to a certain place that I was guided to prepare for my transfiguration and my ascension in 1684. I assure you, this was no voice in my head. This was no idea that appeared in my mind. This is the great Master that physically appeared before me on June 20th of 1683. That my time had come. But until that time, I want you to all know, yes, I loved God. Yes, I loved reaching up. Yes, I loved allowing the breath of God to flow through my being. I loved to take the light of my God being and loved giving it expression. I love to allow the creativity of my being, and that creativity took expression as it did in my life as Will Shakespeare. Yet I knew in that life it was to be my life of resurrection. I knew my life stream was increasing. I knew that the light within my heart was radiating outwards. And I knew that I had a wonderful opportunity. I knew that my heart desired a passion to express the mysteries of life in a most creative way, and dance that would engage the hearts and minds of earnest human beings for centuries. And I seized the opportunity. I knew I had the opportunity in my writings to write about what had caused the rise and fall of humanity over and over. And yet in today's world, there are few who have perceived what I revealed, although hidden, yet revealed enough for earnest minds to discover. If you, and there are more moving pictures that are coming out in which wonderful screenwriters that I am presently overlighting, to give them a clearer light of what was the life of young Will Shakespeare. What was Will's life like at that time? And I am presently overlighting some screenwriters. Well, when these movies are going to come out, it will stir some controversy, because it doesn't agree with the recorded history of my life that is already out there. Nothing like a good controversy. Yet I say to you, dear hearts, if you could peer through the real history and see my life as young Will Shakespeare, you might say to yourself, and he ascended in that lifetime? Oh, dear hearts, I love the creativity of my soul. I loved life. I loved women. I loved flirting. I loved making love. I loved dancing out in the gardens. I loved, after a great presentation before the royal courts, I loved to go out into the audience and steal a young lass, because my fame was great in those days. My features were quite handsome, and I loved to go out after we had brought forth a wonderful play and steal a young lass and her favor, and to take her out into the gardens and dance with her all evening long. Yes, this was my life as William Shakespeare. Yet, I assure you, there was zero hate in my being. There was no hate in my being. And so my love, beloved hearts, was a pure love. And I know, and I knew, that life loves to unite. Life loves to join. Life loves to come together. Life loves to celebrate life. And to all of you who have actual, what is called active sex lives, it is to realize that I am not such a hard-line descended masters as I am sometimes presented to be. Yes, in my own teachings I have asked you to stop taking red meat into the body because it makes the body so dense, because I want your light to glow through your physical forms. Yes, I have asked you to stay away from addictive kinds of behaviors. Yes, I have asked you to monitor and lessen your sexual activity and to try to keep most of that energy in your bodies, or engage it only in the purest energy of love. But I have not asked you to live a life of abstinence. I have asked you to call upon my violet purifying flame to take any desires that you may not want to have anymore, to take those desires out, to take any discord out of your life. But I did not ask you to live abstinent lives in entirety, but rather to realize that the first three sacred centers of the human body, commonly known as chakras, have been energetically lowered in vibration in the history of humankind. There is such a record of idolatry, there's a record of war and hatred and misuse of the physical body and abuse, and therefore a loss of light in those three sacred centers, the three lower chakras, that until you really come to a place of just loving life and embracing another human soul with love, finding a companion that you desire to share your life with, that you want to share your heart and soul with, when you come together and you say to God, let me not walk through these years you have given me on earth. Let me not walk alone. Let me walk in the companionship, that I may have these years in the lovely union of love between souls. And when your love and your love-making is a union between souls, and it is not that which is the groin that is the driving force of your love-making, but rather it is the love that you feel for that soul, heart love, and the love that that soul feels for you. It is this love that is the driving force in which your love-making, because only when it is that love does that love-making become that which is an actual increase of life energy, rather than a loss of sexual energy, and therefore a loss of life, but rather a kind of love-making that allows all that energy to come up through the sacred seals of the physical body and to come up through the physical heart and allow the light and the radiance of your beings to just shine and shine and shine. Well, that's enough of that. I think each of you have an understanding of what I am saying to you. You know, many have turned away from me. I know, I am aware. Many students have turned away from me because they say Master Germain says no red meat, no sex, no alcohol, no drugs, no coffee. Well, he seems to be quite a hard-line descended being, doesn't he? Well, dear hearts, yes, if you are 2 weeks away from your actual ascension, this kind of abstinence is necessary to raise your vibrations. But even now it is rare that one can ascend the physical body. Today, as you know, many can leave the physical body behind and journey to Shambhala and there prepare for the ascension. And I assure you that that preparation is one of that includes only the highest vibrations of life. Today, with the wonderful processes that you have in science, technology, food processing, it is safer to drink coffee, although I would recommend that no coffee get into your body past, say, for example, 5 p.m., because it has an ability to linger and keep your brain from performing some chemical interactions that your brain should be doing in the evening, preparing you for a good night's sleep. Any coffee in the evening will impact the chemical interaction of brain function to ready you and prepare you for a wonderful, restful night's sleep. So it's not that I'm saying you can't do these things. When you do anything, I wish you to do what your heart desires to do. But to do, to be, to live from a place of love, a place of joy, a place of desiring to share all the blessings that life gives you with another soul, that the union of those two blessings may be a blessing that goes out across your families, across your friendships. Do you think communities are formed by buildings? Surely not. This community of rose souls, under Mother Akasha's guidance and dispensation, is not about buildings. It's about beautiful souls that have a spiritual thirst, souls who wish to make a difference, souls who are inspired to bring people together, souls unifying in groups and communities for the greatest spiritual journey of a lifetime. Therefore, beloved Magdalene Roses, love and respect your Rose tribe. And remember, you are under the care of Mother Akasha, the greatest Rose of all. And remember that your life ought to be considered a journey, fully lived, in the greatest presence of love and creativity, and a life that welcomes your own unique individuality and gives you the opportunity to express that individuality in the most unique, profound, and creative ways. Yes, life seeks to become a fountain of creativity, the right to be instead of not to be. And so this is what I ask and offer each of you. And if you will let me, I will speak into your hearts. I will speak into your souls. And I will command that eternal fountain of creativity, the eternal fountain of your own soul's passion, become an active, an eternal, an intuitive, and playful, and loving, and joyful expression through your life on earth. Not just a little glimpse, not just a whisper of creativity, but a banquet of passion, a banquet of creativity, of ideals, of sharing, so that many will come to have supper with you. Many will come to sup with you and to drink with you and to share the great blessings that your life has come to give on earth. So I wish to make my point in all of this, whether it be Jesus the Christ, whether it be I myself, whether it be any of the ones who came from the East, from the Orient, Siddhartha, Krishna, Muhammad. We have all taken the same journey as you, yet each of us in our own unique, creative ways. We do not come and complete our evolution into grand cosmic beings by setting aside the human life. We embrace the human life with the God spirit of our beings, with the polarity of our nature, light and love. We invoke the creativity of our lives to blossom, and we realize that this is a life in which perhaps, this is the last garden that we will grow as human beings. And I ask each of you to live a full life, a life of joy, and realize this may be your last garden that you will grow as physical human beings. This one, or maybe your next life, you will take your ascension, and it should be of no concern to you as to whether it's this life or the next. Rather, whether it is this life or the next, be certain. Be certain that this will be your last opportunities to create your own garden, your Garden of Eden, the garden that each of you have come to plant, to be upon this earth. I pray that there will be many wonderful flowers, creative designs, many wonderful beauties and blessings that the creativity of your own soul desires to give forth, a blessing to all life. There are yet few on earth that the soul has come to be a part of their life. My soul, was a full part of my life as William Shakespeare, and under Mother Akasha's care. And she is the oversoul of the universe. She has come to ensure, to guide, to hold you in such a way that the full soul love and creativity and genius of your being flourishes within the highest states of consciousness. The door is now open, dear hearts. Crave and desire the beauties of your life, the passion of your soul, the creativity that is in your life streams. Pray that all the individual gifts of your own God life, of your own God nature, find a contributing influence and presence on earth. I am Master Germain. I remain at your service. Namaste, precious creative souls on earth. Your path is of the heart. It is of the Mother's presence. Your path indeed is that of the Eternal Rose. And I bid you, Namaste, Namaste, Namaste.